but they took some photos and videos from Cobo Hall. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right now, called TCF Center, the main convention center in downtown Detroit, where there's a lot of ballot counting, voting, and that type of thing happening. In most of these places, they have security. They have security to make sure that ballots aren't being brought in after a certain time they're checking. The front check here was only COVID and masks, and people were bringing in what should have been only 4 to 6 hour shifts, bringing in huge coolers, huge bags, suitcases, other types of things with no checks whatsoever, while coincidentally, at the very same time, we're seeing spikes in the voting count and all kinds of numbers going in one certain direction.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know that spot.
So these are pretty raw.
Yeah, these are pretty raw. So how long are these videos that
This
you have?
one's 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
Kinda
Okay.
scoots
So let's, okay,
through-
right
we
here,
go,
right
we
here.
go.
Okay, all right, so let's look at this. So, okay, so right here, for people who are watching, again, we're just getting this. These are people bringing them in coolers. There's no one around.
That looks
Those are
like a radio.
votes.
That does not
Wow.
look like a bustling ballot counting operation. That
In the-
looks
in the
like
dark.
That looks like the kind of place where Hunter Biden would find his next fix.
And one of the things is there's, certainly a lot to be happening. Wayne County has a lot of votes, but it's the dead of night.
Yeah.
The polls have been closed for hours and hours. Where are these? Where are these?
And they were
people
supposed
coming
to
from?
stop counting. That's what they said on air.
Right. And what are they doing at this particular moment that they need these type of containers at this particular time?
Wow. Okay. Let's keep fast forward. What was that voice that I just heard?
There's a white van.
Oh, it's someone
Narrating.
Narrating.
And this little cart thing. See?
Wow.
Just getting something out of there.
There's just one guy.
Yeah.
And he's not even wearing a tie.
So the person who's going to be logging in, her name is Kelly S., and she's a licensed attorney here in Texas, again, up in the Detroit area, who monitoring with some other groups that are part of the Attorneys for Trump organization. They're just there monitoring, making sure that things get done correctly.
wagon.
And you're going to see wagons and
That's
other
a wheel-wed wagon.
strange implements. So this is either a horror movie or something worse.
Wow. I mean, you wouldn't be able to trust that just because some ballots could fly off the back. That's a guy in a WrestleMania T-shirt with a KB Toys wagon.
Wow. So he's
I was
bringing
joking
these.
about the radio flyer.
No, but yeah, you're right.
actually a
Massive
radio
radio
flyer.
flyer.
He got the nice brand. On brand.
Yeah, the good thing, yeah, it's that's name brand.
Good for him.
Wow.
They spent the extra $20.
So
he's
think of the different points here where there's no security. There's no security. First off, we have no idea how these things got into the van. There's no one there right now escorting him from the van. There's no one meeting him as he brings it into there. Like you would think that there should be a human conveyor belt of people. It should look like American Gangster when they're all cutting the cocaine naked, so that you're sure they don't have anything in their pockets. And this guy's just walking in. There isn't any kind of official there for hundreds of yards. Give us a description, and then we'll go to our
it looks like we're inside of the area.
Inside of the
Looks like
building.
the inside of the building. Okay. So we're
looks
going
like
to
the
watch
actual
this here. Stay
counting
with us.
area.
I just want to make sure that people can see this so we can sort of give people a visual aid. Let's show the inside of the building, this video here. Okay, so this is where they were going inside, and that's where they're supposed to be counting those ballots, I assume. And so, I'm sorry, I forgot the name of your lovely guest here.
Kelly.
Kelly, right here, can you turn on the volume on the clip a little bit?
Yeah.
So Kelly, right here we see them coming in suitcases. Is this the same place at the area where they are now? Is that where you saw them bringing in the red wagon? Because in here it looks like there are quite a few people. That's a ballot counting operation.
Right. So I can't really tell which video clip you're looking at, but so it's basically like a convention center, the
Right.
building that we're in. So there's where we came in, or where I came in, was kind of up on the upper level, and then you go down, and there's entrances for everyone, and they're dragging luggage, they're dragging bags, they're dragging igloo, like ice chest. They're there doing 5 to 6 hour shifts, and yeah, I mean, they were taking those items in with them into the clear glass windowed room that's to the back, and that's the area I couldn't cross into. So we weren't able, there we go. So that glass area to the back is where they would go through to go into count the ballots.
Right.
And so this front area is the lobby area, and they would come in from outside and bring those items into that secure area that's in the back where they actually have the ballots.
And that's where they were counting. And this is at that time when we had been told they had stopped counting. They weren't supposed to be counting.
Correct. And the concern was just the security concern. We don't really know what was going on with or what items they were bringing in or who was going in or any of those things. Yeah.
So what is your primary, how does this differ from the normal experience, at where they would count ballots? Do people, right now what we're seeing is people bringing in by themselves with no security, red wagons and Coleman coolers, bringing them behind a glass area where no one has access. How does that differ from how ballot counting should look or how it usually looks? Because keep in mind, for a lot of people, they've never seen any of this at work.
Well, I would think you could kind of look at how we vote, right? I mean, we go into a polling location. It's very formal. There's a process. We go through. They check your identification. They, validate who you are, verify that you're a person that's eligible to vote, and that you're in the right precinct, you're in the right area. So, I would think that if we're going to go through all of those steps to make sure that our voting is protected, that we're doing it properly, you would think that our end result would have the same level of security.
Right.
So explain one more time.
So the people that were in front of me, there were two people in front of me that used a Sharpie.
Yes.
That was given to them by the poll workers.
Yes.
It did not read their ballot.
Okay.
And they slid it in there twice. I used a pen.
Yep.
Took their Sharpie and threw it away.
And it read your ballot.
And it read my ballot.
And it read your ballot.
And it read my
So
ballot.
what they're doing is they're telling people to use the Sharpies. That way,
Yes.
those votes aren't counted.
Yes.
That's exactly what's happening.
Yes.
So there was other people that were in there voting with their pens, and they literally went around and they were yanking pens out of their hands.
Yes, they tried to do that to me, and I took their Sharpie and I hid it because then they said, look for all the Sharpies that are not being used and take the Sharpies back. They had a bowl of pens behind them that they were not giving to people and only giving Sharpies out.
There we go. So the ones with the Sharpies are not being read at all.
No.
No. None of those ballots are being read.
Of course not.
So that's and so they're doing it because they're trying to skew all of the votes in
Yeah,
there.
and they
That's
didn't,
exactly
and they
what's
didn't
going
try
on.
to even slide it more than one time. They immediately took it and slid it in the front, like not even tried a second time. They just
That's correct.
ran it through and slid it in the front, and I was like, wait a
That's what they
second.
did with yours?
Yep, and I just went with a Sharpie, voted Trump, and she just slid it in, and that was it. But
But they're not counting. They're not counting the ones with the Sharpies. And so they're forcing people to use the Sharpies, and those votes aren't being counted.
Right.
That's what's going on.
Right. And then I posted it on my Facebook group chat in my neighborhood. They said they did it at the Queen Creek Library. They did it at ASU Polytech earlier. They're like 4 different polling places were doing Sharpies, all in like between Queen Creek and like the edge of Gilbert.
Yep. And those ones are not being counted.
Yeah.
They're invalid.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have proof.
So they're invalidating votes is what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
That's how
I
it
took a
feels like.
picture of
Okay.
my ballot. For
And then
Trump.
there was a guy that directly came out and yelled at me 3 times. They both.
Look at that. They're showing you. Look at that. Look at that. This was yesterday, dude. And they're showing you, bro. They called Virginia for Joe Biden when there was 1.3 million votes in favor for Donald Trump, 52%, and Biden was at 45% at 1.1 million. That's rigged. That's not even a fair, that's not an election. That's not how those numbers work. You can use that densely populated trash all you want, but that doesn't hold up. And if you really had any shadow of a doubt that this was a rigged election, let's let Biden tell you that they are committing voter fraud. And notice the Biden and Harris signs in the background.
Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our administration, the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Do you need to hear any more than that?
How can this be? Look at that. 1% in, they already called it Biden in Virginia.
Bro, tell me that doesn't look sus. Less than 1% of the votes are in, they called it for Biden. Now look at Trump. 58% to 41%, but Biden wins with just less than 1% of the voting. That's already voter fraud right there. They already stole that state clean from underneath Trump.
When America went to sleep last night, President Trump had a pretty good lead in Michigan. That went away around 4 a.m. this morning when police escorted in a big box of uncounted ballots, 138,000 of them to be exact. And out of the 138,000 votes that they found, 138,000 of them was for Joe Biden. So neither.
Bruh. Come on, you know what I'm saying? Like 130, you found 138,000 votes, 100% for Biden. That literally never happened in any election ever, which is why you can look at every election in the history of our country and you would never see a spike up like that. They're trying to get Trump out of office and they're going to steal it. Look at this.
Well, something's messed up in Virginia. That's for damn sure. How? What?
And this is the news coverage, bro. Check it. Hold up.
It's too early, but we can report that Biden is leading in Virginia.
Biden is leading in Virginia. Too early to call, but Biden's leading. I don't know about you, but 69% is a whole hell of a lot better than 30%. Know what I'm saying?
Okay, we all knew it was going to happen, but Virginia was plainly obvious. California being called 11 minutes after they closed. Hawaii being called before any ballots were counted. Arizona, the Sharpies, the ballots counted. Come on.
You tell me how our polls closed at 8 p.m. here in California, and 6 minutes later, California goes Biden. Bullshit. I call bullshit. This state turned red. You can't count those many fucking ballots, excuse my language, in 6 minutes.
Bro, people are pissed, and rightfully so. I mean, like, if I voted and I stood in line all that damn time and they're cheating like this, I'd be pretty pissed. But this is exactly why I don't vote. They're going to do what they want to do either way. It's all pre-planned bullshit, as you clearly are seeing.
Oh, so Trump was getting ready to blow Joe Biden out. They could count the mail-in ballots for 45 other states, but not the last 5, Michigan, Georgia, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. They can't find the ballots for the last 5 states. Oh.
Nope, apparently not. You see what I'm saying? Like the last 5, they were doing so good. The election was fair while everybody was awake. Everybody goes to sleep. This happens.
This is proof that mail-in ballots are 100% a scam. Right here.
If you didn't know what that was the spike. We run that back.
This is proof that mail-in ballots are 100% a scam.
You have Michigan. They got a massive spike up out of nowhere overnight at the same exact time that Wisconsin did. These votes were literally just dumped in the laps of these cities that were the 2 swing states that they needed. And amazing, 100% of both of those votes or both of those states all went to Biden. That is statistically impossible, mathematically not a possibility, that you can have over 100,000+ votes go straight to one candidate in an election that has been pretty 50-50, I'm pretty sure we all could have seen, until we went to sleep. And then, you know what I mean? It's 100%, and in some cases 101%, all in favor of Biden.
What the fuck? What the fuck is
People
this?
are pissed about this.
That is not funny. That is not, there's nothing. What? Like my lorry. 17 shots for me.
Bro, everybody's mad about this, and rightfully so. Look at this.
All right, guys, like, share, comment, get this video out there because we can't let this go unseen. They're gonna.
Bro, it's everywhere. Like, everyone's talking about the random spikes that happened out of nowhere, where it was a gradual crawl, and then magically it jumps up like a rocket ship into the sky. This is how they steal their power back. And I'm going to tell you right now, like I've been telling you, Biden-Harris is going to win 2020. They're going to shortly after have Biden fall ill with some bullshit sickness or whatever. He can't do the job, whatever, right? And then Harris steps in as the first black female president. And then she does all the liberal shit that she's been planning for the longest fucking time. And you know what? I blame the Republicans because they don't own big tech. They don't own most of the mainstream media, and they don't own any of the Hollywood actors and actresses that are all putting all of their resources together. They are a well-oiled machine, and if you think you're beating it off of fairness alone, you're out of your mind. Dude, just look at the simple fact that You have conservatives being deplatformed off of Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook until after the election. Just look at the simple fact that you have Hollywood actors and actresses trying to tell black voters that they can't they can't vote for certain people, and you have all of this negative narrative. And from day one, it has always been, we need to get Trump out of office. We cannot have him back in office again. It's always going to be like this, and as long as Trump has it.
So, a lot of shit going on.
It's going to be like this.
So this is what we're seeing with Wisconsin and Michigan. That's a pretty big spike overnight. Look at that, just slightly going over the Republicans. And mind you, look at these numbers. Before, Biden had 1.992 million, and Trump had 2.200 million. After the night, Trump still had 2.200 million, and Biden all of a sudden had 2.130 million. So how can Michigan find 140,000 random votes just for Biden? Out of 140,000 mail-in ballots, not a single one was for Trump. And with Arizona at the start, Biden was leading with more than 200,000 votes, with 73% reporting. With 84% reporting, Biden's lead has been cut to 93,500. That's voter fraud, by the way. It's disgusting, and we should...
This is the kind of stuff that people are talking about on TikTok. So while on YouTube, it's all pro-Biden, pro-Harris, they're suppressing stuff like this. I love TikTok because organic stuff just pops up in the feed and you're seeing it in real time. You're seeing people show the news. You're seeing people show the spikes. You're seeing people's outrage. This is the real American populace that you are not seeing on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and all that other stuff. And I wanted to show you guys that because, like, I know you all think it's a bunch of, like, 12-year-olds dancing. That's not what TikTok is. There's a whole bunch of communities on TikTok, and y'all gotta stop sleeping on it. There's even something for pro-Biden people, okay? Like, for people thinking it's just for kids, it's definitely not at this stage. And, man, the proof that we've been seeing come out of this whole election process has been crazy. So many people exposing so many things. Now, granted, after Google bought ByteDance or whatever they ended up doing, there's been a lot more suppression happening. People being banned. I've seen a lot of TikToks about that, deplatformed till after the election. Like, all kinds of crazy stuff that's just been going on. So I think, honestly, if you believe this election, you believe what's happening right now, I think, you know, kind of part of the problem, man, because you don't get spikes out of nowhere like that, man. Like, come on. Come on. At the same time, the two states that were in question, that were trending red, magically went blue all as we went asleep and woke up in the morning because they found over 100,000 votes, all for Biden. Very convenient. Very convenient. I'm not even a Trump supporter. I mean, some of you guys saw the video I made about Trump. I mean, some of you guys saw the video and really hated what I had to say. But you got to admit that this is unfair. This is cheating, but this is something that happens when you don't fortify your base. You don't build up something to prevent this from happening. So I don't know what the hell is going to happen. I know we're in for probably a very long election process. They're probably going to fight it in the Supreme Court. We're probably not going to know till sometime even after 2021. I mean, like, way into 2021, we'll be finding out. I don't know, man. This just seems like a recipe for disaster. But I want to hear your thoughts. I mean, do you think it's fair, or do you think like this is credible that like that spike on a graph magically happens in a race that was literally just slow and steady crawling? I mean, just let me know. Just curious here.